Kia ora everyone. So I'm Longman, part of the Tourism Central Otago team, which is part of Central Otago District Council. So Tourism Central Otago is a regional tourism organisation. So there's 31 regional tourism organisations around New Zealand, different models in different regions. We're one of the few that still sits inside our council. Dunedin's the same. And our role is around the promotion of our regions and marketing, and a lot more emphasis now, especially post-COVID, on the management of the impacts and benefits of tourism. So we, as an RTO, got funding out of government through COVID to develop a destination management plan, which we released in September last year. So we developed this in partnership with Mana Whenua, taking a long-term view of what our communities want from tourism, and therefore how we want to manage that development or encourage the developments that match our community's desires. I had a fail with saving my PowerPoint, so I don't have anything on the screen for you, but I will get some different facts and links out to the destination management plan, some of the research post this. But the main thing that kind of came in and got Becks asked to talk about was diversification. Obviously for many of you, you're living out here in the Maniatoto, potentially farmers and things like that. So what opportunities are there? And there's two key attractions that will bring people through this region. Rail trail being the primary one, and also the Central Otago touring route, which was launched a few years ago, which is a formal touring route recognised by NZTA, moving people between Queenstown and Dunedin or vice versa, and trying to get them to slow down and have a longer visit. So how can we get those people to stop out here in the Maniatoto, travel wider, have some unique experiences? And that came through in the destination management plan, that people wanted boutique experiences that were true to place. They valued the wide open spaces, so they're wanting that small, intimate experience, which aligns really well with a lot of what's already happened with the rail trail over the last 20 years, and Kate can be testament to that. And it also means you can have some really small businesses or opportunities sit nicely alongside what your other activities are. So using the resources you've already got. So if you've got spare accommodation, how can you turn that into a bed and breakfast to support people coming through on the trail? Or how do we celebrate our night skies? How do we get them out? And there's more and more people looking for educational tourism, or getting out and understanding where their food comes from, how our farming systems work, and supporting the environment. So based on that last chat as well, around how can people engage at different levels in their holidays, and how do they give back. So what we're looking at doing as we start rolling out this destination management plan is how do we work with our community groups, our businesses, to kind of seed out those ideas. So it's great to have this opportunity, but really we're here as a resource for you. If you've got an idea and you want to talk at it from a tourism perspective, or us connect you with the planning or regulatory teams around what conditions there would be to do something, that's what we're here for as an RTO. So the simplest thing is a B&B on your property connected to your house, where you're offering breakfast under 6 people. That doesn't require any form of resource consent. As soon as you go over 6 people, you're going to trigger a point where you need to start going through a process, or if it's separate to your own property. So there is a lot of things there, but if you've just got that question, just give us a call and we can open up those opportunities. Some of the other things that Becks mentioned there was interest in is activities like hunting, horse trekking, things like that. So those activities will bring in more national level regulations. A lot of them are captured in some of the adventure activities regulations. So again, we can connect dots with advisors in those spaces. On a personal level, my father-in-law's got a station just out of Queenstown, and he takes the approach that any of his tourism income, he tries to do it passively. So he's actually just allowing the other people to come in and run the businesses on the property rather than doing it himself. He's busy enough farming, and you've got 7,000 merinos, you don't have much time to do other things. So there's companies that are looking for those unique locations where they can come in and give those experiences. So it might be a 4-wheel drive operator or a guided walk operator, and it might just be that connection between you and what you could offer in your properties, and we might know someone else who's actually looking for that opportunity already. So it doesn't have to be something, and then you can, obviously within limits, there will be some permission stuff, but then you can set out what the cost would be for an operator to come in. You might take a percentage of their sales, or it might be a per person charge. So it just means something that you can get that additional income without having to put any more work on yourselves. Some of the other projects that we'll be looking to bring out and connect in with the thing is, how does our tourism industry, so our existing operators, support our community outcomes, support their environment, and whether that's from a business perspective of how do our tourism businesses give back and support planting initiatives, your riparian planting and things, or how do we encourage our visitors to make sure they're contributing to the costs that they're bringing to our regions. So that's examples of that as contributions back to the Rail Trail Trust with their passport and things like that. So what are the appropriate ways we can encourage people to contribute? So again, if you've got projects that are looking for funding, there might be ways we can connect you with businesses who are looking for opportunities to put back, especially if they're bringing customers through this region. Most of your businesses want to give something back. So again, we can try and facilitate those conversations around opportunities. The other piece that was a big part of our destination management plan was really looking at what were we missing, and the biggest thing that came back out of the research, so there was focus groups in each of the wards of the district that shaped an online survey which was run independently of council to get a representative sample of the population. One of the biggest things that came through was that we don't necessarily tell the stories of our cultural heritage really very well. So we're starting to work with Kaitahu and their agency Okaha around how do we tell some more of that narrative of how this area, and especially the Maniapoto, was a place of travel, a place of camp, collecting kai through that time. So we're looking at ways we can do that, and there's obviously a lot of different sites through the area that are really important. So that's a project that is a slow burner because there's a lot of stakeholders in that. So with the DOC team locally within the Central Otago office, but they've also got someone specifically in the Queenstown office that does all of their destination management work over the Lower South. So there's a lot of moving pieces in there that we're just trying to make sure we're lifting our own awareness and that of our visitors of our places. And it's a general overview, but very much open to any questions you've got around things. I think the other key pieces, if you are investigating stuff, is the Rail Trail Business Network have got examples of, and the Trust can connect you there as well, is they've got examples of businesses the whole length of the trail, whether they're on the trail or 20 kilometres off it, and what's worked and what's been learned. So that's one group, and Business South, who've got an office in Taradrus and Alexandra, again have got some of that business support piece as you look to develop any ideas. So there's a lot of opportunity for partnership and collaboration to support any projects.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Ants. Has anyone got any questions for Ants?
Sitting on the regional council, I get the pleasure of getting briefings that haven't happened up here on Lake Onslow. And if I look at my past and see what did the Clyde Dam do to the legacy of Queenstown and Wanaka, and that was access. And I think if we're looking at Lake Onslow, there's a real opportunity of saying, what is the legacy you guys want for Lake Onslow? The decision about Lake Onslow won't be made by you guys, but what is the legacy? What would that road look like, and what those connections could be, and access to the mountains? That could be something that's a win-win. So, and the reason I say that is I think what you don't want is a necessarily 4-lane highway, but you may want a legacy that leaves some something
Better
that makes it a
connection.
much more accessible and better place to live and work and play in. And I think that's a piece that isn't being done, and it's certainly shouldn't be owned by the people in Ettrick, which is the only place they go and have meetings. It should be owned by you guys up here. And so I think it's a huge opportunity should that project go ahead, but it needs some really good thinking by you guys about what that would look like.
Yeah, so like there is obviously several major things, national level discussions. The other one being the Terrace Airport, whether potential is the wrong word, but like they're big things, but it's really important that as communities our voices are heard. So what Kate's saying is some of those decisions might not be able to be based here, but the more voice we've got and consistency around what we want, that can be carried into those conversations. In terms of Onslow, Nick Lanham, who's the Economic Development Manager for the Central Otago District Council, so he's very engaged in that project, and yeah, the impacts of that, obviously, initially the discussions are looking at that Teviot Valley piece, but it flows this way, it flows to Alexandra. If that project did go ahead, it's huge, and what is the overflow of that is suddenly if you had all of those additional workers in the Teviot Valley or in Alexandra, suddenly that's got a displacement effect on potentially accommodation availability further afield. So like there's big parts of those projects that will have impacts across tourism or provide opportunities, again, for utilisation of resources that you may have sitting on your land.
And long term, what it might look like.
Oh wow, are you around for a little bit today?
I
you
just say
sh-
for
you're
a
shooting off,
little
aren't
bit,
you?
and I've got a couple other meetings. So.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Oh, thank you very much for speaking to us today, Ants, and I know that you're available for questions, and yeah, Ants will be sharing some resources with us as well that they'll be up on the website. So, hoping that you'll appreciate it.